All praises to the Most High. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh B'Shem Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. And this lesson is about being perfect on the day of the Most High. Because this is what he wants us to do, is to strive for perfection. I know a lot of people say that nobody's perfect, but the Most High wants us to be perfect on that day. So I'm going to start with Ezra, the book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 8. And it reads, "And now for a little space, grace has been showed from the Lord our God to leave us a remnant to escape, and to give us a nail in his holy place, that our God may lighten our eyes and give us a little reviving in our bondage." So the Most High is saying that he's gonna let a remnant escape from this destruction that's coming, and he's gonna revive us. He's gonna give us rest from all of our sorrows. He's gonna save that remnant that he promised, that 1/3 that he promised out of this destruction that's on the way. And from there, I'm gonna go to the book of 1 John chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 15 to 17, and it reads, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Now, the Most High is not saying we can't love our families, we can't love our children. That's not what he's saying. He's telling us not to fall in love with all these carnal things, money, because the money is the root of all evil, it says in the book of Timothy. So he's telling us not to fall in love with a lot of this stuff, because all this stuff is going to perish. All this is going to fade away once that destruction comes. And see, the only thing we're going to have left is the Most High to rely on. All this stuff he's going to destroy. Verse 16, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world." So he's telling us that the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, that's not of the Father, that's of the world. Verse 17, "And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh abideth forever." So he's going to destroy this kingdom, which is Esau's kingdom. He's not going to destroy the world that he made. It's going to be a shift of power, and Esau's kingdom is going to end, and Jacob's kingdom is going to begin, like it says in the book of Ezra, the 6th chapter. "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." And from there, I'm going to go to 1 John chapter 5, and I'm going to go to verse 3. 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous." So the Most High is saying this is how you show that you love God, is if you're keeping his commandments. And his commandments, they're not too hard, but a lot of people think they're hard. But it's like how you ride a bike. After a while, you get used to doing it. You put it into practice. You start putting these things into practice, and then it becomes easier for you each day. And from there, I'm going to go to 1 John chapter 2. 1 John chapter 2. And I'm going to read verse 3 through 6. And it says, "And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments." The Most High is saying this is how you know if you know him, is if you're keeping his commandments. Verse 4, "He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him." So anyone saying that they know the Most High, saying, "Oh, I love the Lord, oh, the Lord is in my heart," saying all these things, but they're not keeping any commandments, the Most High said they are a liar. Verse 5, Shalakia. "But whoso keepeth his word in him, verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him." Verse 6, "He that saith he abideth in him, ought himself also to walk even as he walked." So if you're saying that the Lord is in your heart, and you love the Lord, he said that you should walk even as he walked. This is what the Lord is saying. And from there, I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 5. Go to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 48. This is I lost it here. Bear with me a minute. So I lost my spot here. Matthew 5 and verse 48. And this is Yahushua speaking here. This is what he said. He said, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." So this is what Yahushua wants us to be. He wants us to strive for perfection. This is what he's asking us to strive for. This is part of running our race with endurance. But you're supposed to learn from your mistakes and not do it anymore, and then try to walk even as he walked. This is what he's saying. And from there, I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 6, and I'm going to read verse 22 to 24. And it reads, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light." Verse 23, "But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?" Verse 24, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon." And keep in mind, this is Yahushua speaking here. He's telling us we have to make a choice. We have to either serve him or we're going to serve this world. And we can't serve both. This is a choice we have to make. Like Yahshua was saying, we have to choose ye this day as to whom we're going to serve. But as for me and my house, we are going to serve the Lord. And from there, I'm going to get Baruch. I'm going to go to the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha. Just bear with me. I'm going to get that out of the Apocrypha. Baruch chapter 4. And I'm going to start at verse 1. And 1 and 2. "This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." So the Most High is saying that the laws were never done away with. He's saying that they shall endure forever. And he's saying all those that keep it will come to life, but all those that leave it shall die. Verse 2, "Turn thee, O Jacob, and take heed of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated." See, this is why Yahushua said in the book of Matthew, "Let your light so shine, so all men can see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." So this is why we have to do this. And from here, I'm gonna go to the book of Joshua. From here, go to the book of Joshua. Joshua 24 and verse 15. And it reads, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh." So now he's saying it. This is a choice you got to make. You can't serve God and mammon. Christ was saying that in Matthew. You got to make this choice. You can't keep straddling the fence. You can't be lukewarm. He said in Revelations, if you're lukewarm, he's gonna spit you right out of his mouth. So we have to get this right. We have to make the choice, and you have to be sincere and be for real about this walk. And from there, I'm going to go to Ecclesiastes, verse 7. The book of Ecclesiastes, verse 7. Chapter 7 and verse 20. And that reads, "For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not." So we've all sinned and come short of the glory. We've all sinned and come short of the glory. But the thing is for us to stop the sinning, turn from all that, and start walking in obedience to Yahweh. Because everyone has sinned and come short, is what this is saying. We've all sinned and come short of the glory, but you're not supposed to continue in the sin. You're supposed to strive for the perfection. And from there, I'm going to go to the book of Philippians. Let's see here. Philippians chapter 3, verse 12 through 15. And this is Apostle Paul here. He said, not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Christ, Hamashiach Yahushai. So Paul was saying that he hadn't even attained it, but he was striving to be Christ-like. He wanted to be walking in that perfection, is what Paul was saying in here. And then verse 13, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. So we have to forget about the past, forget about all that stuff you did in the past, that old wretched man or that old wretched woman, and you have to start walking in the newness of life with Yahushai. You're supposed to be that new man or the new woman in Christ. So walk as those that belong to the light. Verse 14, I press towards the mark for the price of the high calling of Yahweh in Christ Hamashiach. And then he says in verse 15, let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if anything you be otherwise minded, God shall reveal even this unto you. So Paul is saying you need to try to walk in perfection. This is what he's saying. We need to try. If you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you're not turning and sinning, then you're actually walking in the perfection. If you keep doing the things that he said in the scriptures and don't waver, don't turn and go back into the mud, then you're actually walking in the perfection. From there, I'm going to go to 1 John chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. John the Revelator. We'll go back there. 1 John chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. But whoso keepeth his word, in verse 5 says, but whoso keepeth his word in him, verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. Verse 6, he that saith he abideth in him, ought himself also so to walk even as he walked. So anyone that's calling on the name of the Lord and saying that he's in your heart, you have to walk as he walked. This is what he's saying. And from there, I'm going to go to 1 John chapter 4 and verse 12. And that reads, no man has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. So if you're walking in love, you're actually keeping the commandments, because it says that in here in the book of 1 John. It says, for this is love, that we walk after his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous. So if you're loving your brothers, you're not going to steal from your brother. If you're loving your brother, you're not going to kill your brother. If you're loving your brother, you're not going to try to sleep with his wife. If you're loving your brother, you're not going to hate your brother. These are all, they hang on the laws and the prophets. Love covers a multitude of sins. So if we love one another, we're going to be walking. You can walk in the perfection if you keep in love in your heart. And from there, I'm gonna go to Philippians chapter 2 and verse 15. Philippians chapter 2, Shalakia, verse 15. Verse 15 reads, that you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Yahweh, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. So this is what you want to be on the day of the Lord. You want to be blameless. You want to be that light. that beacon set on a hill. You want to be blameless on the day of the Lord. And from there, I'm gonna go to the book of Job, because a lot of people say that nobody is perfect. A lot of people will say that, but there's accounts in the Bible that actually says there was people walking in perfection. We know that Yahushua was perfect. He was without sin. And so here's the book of Job, chapter 1. It says, there was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yahweh and eschewed evil. He feared the Most High God, and he hated evil. This was Job. He was walking in perfection. Now let's get Genesis chapter 6, and let's see what Noah was doing. Genesis 6, verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. This is what the Most High had promised the years of men. They used to live longer before all of this, the technology got increased and all these factories and all this pollution. Back in the time of Noah and the people prior to that, they were living a lot longer, like Methuselah and all them. You can read that in Genesis. They were living, some of them, 960 years, because there wasn't all this pollution in the world, and it wasn't cigarettes, and they didn't have all this stuff that they're dealing with now. And let me read that again. Genesis 6, verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And then I'm going to go down to verse 7 and not 7 through 9. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So the Most High, he's not pleased with wickedness. That's why it says in the book of Psalms chapter 5, the Lord does not have pleasure in wickedness. How he hateth all workers of iniquity. He has no pleasure in wickedness. Verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. So here's another account of a perfect man, Noah. And from here, I'm going to go to faithful Abraham, Genesis 26. Let's see what it says about Abraham. Genesis 26, verse 1 through 5. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine. That was in the days of Abraham. Shalakiah. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines unto Gerar. Verse 2. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee. Verse 3. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. So that covenant he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is never going to change. And verse 4, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. And they all did get their portion, and they all got a lot of wealth, but they didn't bless Abraham's lineage. So that's why now they're under the curse. Now the Most High is coming after all these nations that cursed us. Verse 5, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So here's another account of a perfect man, Abraham. So a lot of people say there's nobody perfect, but here's an account of some righteous men. And now I'm going to go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 27. And that reads, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having a spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. This is why when the Levitical priests, when they took a turtle dove or a lamb or bullock, they always got a perfect animal that was without spot, wrinkle, or blemish to go take to the altar to give to a sacrifice to the Most High, because that's what he requires, obedience. He requires obedience rather than sacrifice. And from there, I'm going to go to Revelations, the book of Revelations, and I'm going to get chapter 22, and I'm going to start at verse 11, and I'm going to read through 16. And this is Yahushua speaking here. He said, "He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still." And then verse 12 says, "Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be." So Yahushua is coming like a thief in the night. And he's going to give everybody according to their ways and according to the fruit of their own doings. He's going to be judging them on that. Verse 13, he says, "I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last." Verse 14, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city." So this is a stipulation right here to get into the kingdom. He says, "Blessed are they that do the commandments, that they may have right to get into the gates into the city." Verse 15, "For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie." Anybody doing any of these things, they're not getting into the kingdom. Verse 16, "I, Hamashiach, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star." Now he's going back to his lineage. Yahushua is going back how he's the root and the offspring of David, and that lineage from Jesse. He's the root. He said he's the bright and morning star. He's talking about his own lineage and his own attributes. And now I'm going to go to Revelation chapter 19, verse 8 through 10. Revelations 19, verse 8 through 10. And that reads, "And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints." So this is what you want to be arrayed in. You want to be spotless. You want to be sinless. You'll be, and that's what the white represents. "And he said unto me, Right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, These are the true sayings of Yahweh." Verse 10, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach is the spirit of prophecy." So everything that he said through these scriptures are coming to pass. He declares the end from the beginning, and his counsel is going to stand. And with that, I'm going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem HaMashiach, Yahushua. Shalom.